Andreen McDonald was a millionaire businesswoman, a devoted mother, and then she vanished. She missed her morning gym session, never showed up to work. Her phone, dead. Her car, still in the garage. Her purse, untouched. And her 7-year-old daughter was still waiting. What started as a missing person report quickly unraveled into something darker. Behind the doors of a $1 million home, there was a marriage cracking at the seams. And in the backyard, something was burning. This is the story of Andreen McDonald, a woman who built an empire and may have died for it. Andreen McDonald lived by routine, not just habit, discipline. Every morning, the gym at 5:30 sharp. By 8 a.m., she was at her desk at Starlight Homes, her assisted living empire in San Antonio. To those who worked with her, she wasn't just a boss, she was the engine. So when she didn't show up on Friday, March 1st, they noticed. When they called the gym and were told she never arrived, panic crept in. By noon, calls were going straight to voicemail. Her phone, silent. Her social media, untouched. Her mother, calling non-stop. Andreen didn't do this. She didn't disappear. That afternoon, deputies entered her gated home. Everything was in place, no forced entry, no broken furniture, but something felt wrong. A small blood smear on a light switch, hair matted near it. And in the backyard, where the lawn was normally trimmed to perfection, a smoldering burn patch. Inside that ash, the melted zipper of a blouse, the one she wore the night before. Her purse was inside. Her car keys were untouched. Her daughter's backpack still at the door. It didn't look like someone left. It looked like someone was erased. Andreen wasn't just a woman with money. She was a woman with structure, a woman with people who noticed. And when someone like her disappears, the silence says more than a scream ever could. What no one knew yet was that her life hadn't unraveled in the morning. It had ended the night before, and someone had spent the early hours trying to burn it away. Andreen McDonald wasn't just a husband. He was a major in the United States Air Force, a cyber warfare analyst, a man with clearance to know secrets and the discipline to keep them. When deputies arrived at the house, he told them his wife was at the hospital, a migraine maybe. He even drove there himself, fast. But the woman checked in under the name McDonald wasn't Andreen. When they called the hospital, the lie cracked open. Back at the house, Andreen was calm, almost too calm. He said he'd just dropped their daughter off at school, that he hadn't seen his wife since the night before, but detectives were watching. A day later, he was followed to a gun store. He bought a 9mm handgun, ammunition. In his car, a shovel, trash bags, a gas can. At his home, a receipt from Lowe's, ripped into pieces. Surveillance showed him buying an axe, gloves, 2 red gas cans. In the trash, a claw hammer, blood-stained jeans, and on the hammer, Andreen's DNA. To investigators, it no longer looked like a disappearance. It looked like a cover-up. And the man who once fought wars for a living was now the one being hunted. What breaks a marriage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper, a look, or a date inked on skin. Andreen McDonald knew something had changed. His wife had 2 new tattoos, the letter A on her hand, and a sequence of numbers on her wrist, 14376. At first, she said it meant nothing. But Andre dug deeper. On social media, he found a photo of a man named Alwyn Hall, Andreen's first love from Jamaica. His hand bore the same tattoo. The numbers? Alwyn's birthday. Andre confronted her. The arguments grew sharper. In texts, she threatened divorce. He told her she'd lose everything. She said she didn't care. On February 28th, the night before she vanished, they fought again. Not just about a wean, but about the business. Starlight Homes, the $1 million company Andreen built from scratch, was legally tied to both of them. She called it her dream. He called it his sacrifice. That night, she told him she could walk away, but maybe he couldn't. And when police searched the home, they found the remnants of dinner for 2, wine glasses, a half-full plate, candles never lit. But the chair across from hers was empty. Whatever was said at that table ended with silence, and then with blood. 133 days. That's how long she was gone. And then, on a July evening in 2019, a farmer searching for a cow skull found something else, a human skull, near the edge of a wooded pasture, just 6 miles from the McDonald home. The bones were scattered, weathered, but unmistakably human. And in that moment, the search for Andreen ended. DNA confirmed what her family had feared. The woman who built a business, a life, a name, had been dumped, stripped, and left for nature to reclaim. 2 days later, Andreen McDonald was arrested and charged with her murder. But as the prosecution built its case, a new problem emerged. The body was too far gone. No cause of death, no time of death, just shattered bones and silence. And then, after 4 years of courtroom delays, Andreen finally spoke. He called it an accident, a fight, a moment that spiraled. He said he burned her clothes. He said he smashed her body with a hammer after she was already dead. But investigators weren't so sure. Why was her blood on the weapon? Why was his story changing now? And the biggest question of all, if this wasn't murder, why did he hide her like it was? 4 years after Andreen disappeared, the trial began. The man accused of her murder, now ready to speak. But his version of events? Not everyone believed it. Andreen McDonald told the jury it was a fight, that she spit in his face, that he grabbed her and they clashed heads. He said she saw blood on her face and snapped. He said he tripped her, kicked her, and when he returned from checking on their daughter, she was dead. He claimed he panicked, that he burned her clothes to protect his daughter. And the hammer? He said he used it on her body later, out of anger. But the jury heard more than his words. They saw the photos. They saw the hammer. They heard the pathologist describe a shattered jaw, broken spine, a body fractured in places that don't break by accident. The courtroom fell quiet. And when the closing arguments ended, the only thing more unsettling than his story was the fact that some people believed it. The jury deliberated for 11 hours. Inside, 12 people wrestled with the truth and the law. Was it murder or something less? They didn't argue about guilt, only the name for it. 6 leaned toward manslaughter. 6 said it was murder. The sticking point? Intent. Did he mean to kill her, or did he just let her die? The judge urged them to keep going, and 1 hour later, they returned. Andreen McDonald was found not guilty of murder, but guilty of manslaughter. No life sentence, no capital punishment, just the promise of parole someday. Andreen's family sat in disbelief. Her sister wept. Her daughter clutched a photo, the only version of her mother she had left. Her family asked, where was the justice in that? But for the jury, it was the only thing they could all agree on. A fractured verdict, for a fractured man, and for Andreen, whose voice was never heard. The system made a decision. But not everyone called it justice. Andreen McDonald came to America with nothing but hope. In 7 years, she built an empire, a business, a family, a name. And in a single night, it was all erased. After the trial, the cameras left. The headlines faded. But for her family, the grief only grew louder. Her daughter Elena now lives with Andreen's mother and sister. They raise her together. They try to stay strong, because when one of them breaks, the other has to carry what's left. Starlight Homes, the dream Andreen fought for, is gone. Her home is empty, her husband imprisoned, her legacy fractured. Every year on the anniversary of her death, they light candles. They walk the same neighborhood she once changed with her kindness. There's no monument, no grand statue, just the memory of a woman who gave everything and got nothing in return. Her story isn't just about loss, it's about erasure, a woman who rose above every obstacle, silenced by the man who once promised to protect her. And now, her daughter lives in the shadow of that silence. So we tell these stories to remember, to warn, to fight back against the silence, because when justice feels incomplete, memory becomes the only thing left to hold. Subscribe to this channel if these stories matter to you. Come back next week. because the silence doesn't stop, and neither will we.